Suppose you want to know whether one language model is genuinely better than another. You could read pages of what each one generates in Squint, but that is slow and hopelessly subjective. Perplexity offers something cleaner, a single number that captures how well a model predicts real text. The lower it goes, the less surprised the model is by whatever word comes next. Think of it as the model's confusion finally measured. And beautifully, it falls straight out of the very loss the model was trained to minimize. But that tidy number hides a few sharp caveats worth knowing. Let's break it down. So how do you actually compute perplexity? Follow the recipe one step at a time. Start with a chunk of held-out text the model never trained on. You run the model across it position by position, asking at each step for the probability it assigns to the word that genuinely comes next. Honest evaluation means testing on words it has never seen before. At every position, read off that predicted probability for the true next word. A confident, well-trained model puts high probability on the right word, while a weak one spreads its bets thin and lands only a little probability where it actually counts. Now gather those probabilities and take the average negative logarithm across all of them. That quantity is the cross-entropy the very lost language models are trained to push down. Low cross-entropy means the model kept assigning fat probability to the words that actually appeared. Finally, exponentiate that average. The result is perplexity, and it has a lovely reading, the effective number of equally likely words the model is choosing among at each step. A perplexity of 10 means it is about as uncertain as picking uniformly among 10 words, while a flawless model that always nailed the right word would score a perfect one. Because training already minimizes cross-entropy, it is quietly minimizing perplexity too. So why bother with a formal number at all? Let's put the two approaches side by side. Eyeballing generated text feels intuitive, but it falls apart fast. Reading samples and judging which model sounds smarter is subjective, painfully slow, and impossible to run at scale or repeat consistently. Two people disagree, the same person changes their mind, and you cannot chart real progress from a gut feeling. Perplexity collapses all of that into one number on a fixed test set. Compute it once and you can rank models instantly, cheaply, and reproducibly, with no human raters and no downstream task required. For years, it was the headline figure tracking progress in language modeling, and it still earns its keep. Strip it back, and three ideas define perplexity. It measures the model's surprise. Perplexity captures how confused a model is by the actual next word, on average, and you can read it as the effective number of choices it is torn between at each step. It is the exponential of cross-entropy. Because cross-entropy is exactly the average negative log probability the model gives the true words, pushing the training loss down is one and the same thing as pushing perplexity down. Carries real caveats. Perplexity only compares fairly across models that share a tokenization and vocabulary, since subword schemes change the token count and shift the score, and it rewards fluency without ever measuring usefulness or truth, so a low score can still hide a genuinely unhelpful model. Alright, let's lock in what matters. Perplexity is the standard intrinsic metric for a language model, measuring how well it predicts a sample of text, and lower is always better. Intuitively, it is how surprised the model is by the next word, readable as the effective number of equally likely options it weighs at each step. Formally, it is the exponential of the average cross-entropy, so minimizing the training loss is precisely the same as minimizing perplexity. Just remember the caveats, it is only comparable under the same tokenization, and it says nothing about factual usefulness, which is why modern evaluation adds task benchmarks and human preference. Curious how all these pieces fit together? That is exactly what we unravel over at standarity.com. Come explore with us.